I feel like friendship breakups, they hit the heart. It
sometimes hits worse than a real breakup.
It hits worse.
Especially, like, female friendships are so important, and, like, you latch onto those when they're good, and you're like, oh, like, this feels like a sister.
Well, because you trust them with your life, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
And all your secrets.
And all your secrets.
Oh, they know everything.
So it feels, like, really close to home, really close to the heart.
I had a friend who was very much, I considered, like a sister. She's probably the only adult friendship I've had where I've literally fallen out with, like, ever completely. Yeah. Which is really crazy because we were like family, and that's very, very hard. It was like a messy divorce. It was really, really weird. But the thing is, and then, you know, we posted about this the other day, like, somebody's not calling you because they owe you an apology.
Yeah. I think we all reposted it.
Repost, you know, and it's interesting because to your point, it's like, I can look at this person and say, this person was a good friend to me, but then I can also look at the ways and be like, they weren't a good friend to me, but also still have compassion for the fact that, like, I actually don't think that you intended to hurt me, but I actually know so much about you that I have compassion for the way that you don't even see yourself operating in this life.
You know what absolutely sucks about friendship breakups? Hi, hello, it's Anne. It's when you're kind of out and about and you're not really thinking about this person anymore, and someone randomly comes up to you, they ask you how you are, and they automatically ask, oh, how is... Why? Because you guys were a duo. At one point in time, this person was a priority in your life. You would text them, call them, check up on them. You would be there for them and vice versa. If something good happened or something bad happened, they were one of the first people you would tell. They have also probably seen you hit rock bottom, and they made you feel like you were never alone. So it hurts. It hurts to have to look at someone and be like, well, I don't really know how this person's doing. I hope they're doing well, but I don't really talk to them anymore. And then they kind of ask you like, oh, why? What happened? And it's painful to actually acknowledge the fact that you probably had a disagreement with this one friend and then you guys just never hashed it out. Even though as best friends you think you would. But even worse, it's when nothing happened. Life kind of just played its part. You guys got busy and then you guys just stopped having things in common. You guys outgrew each other. And it's not something you guys planned. If anything, you guys planned the absolute opposite. You promised to be there for each other forever. So if you are going through a friendship breakup right now, I just wanted to remind you that although it does suck, let's acknowledge that this person helped you when they could, and vice versa.
I literally just had a revelation right now. Y'all need to stop being mad when people start being weird around you. Like, stop trying to victimize yourself and say, why? Well, why is it me? Or why are they asking questions? Do you not understand that is God removing them from your life? Like, and it's even more beautiful in a sense that God loved you so much that even though you didn't see it, God saw it and he didn't do nothing to you. He made them remove themselves. It's like, wait a second. Like the fact that I got that much coverage and protection over my life that I don't even have to do nothing. Now that's crazy. Then I really start to think about it and it's like, okay, the same thing been happening. You can be weird. God is going to handle you for me. Quit being mad when God handles people for you. Let it go. Dust it off. Be happy. Laugh. Because at the end of the day, you should be more mad when you look around and it's weird people around you and you wondering, how did I not see that coming? How did I not know? It's like, you so protected that he moved them for you. Y'all better keep it pushing. Y'all better keep it pushing.
Hey everyone, it's Brie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video and I am here to talk about friendship breakups. So this topic was recommended to me in my topic submission form. If you guys have topics that you guys want me to cover on the channel, make sure you guys click the link in my pinned comment as well as my description where I do have a form where you guys can send in topics for the channel. So I definitely have a lot to say on this topic because I have dealt with friendship breakups to the max. Literally, you know, since my childhood all the way through adulthood. And, you know, obviously people come and go, and, you know, people are here for a season and a reason, and, you know, not everybody's meant to stay in your life. But I have had just a lot of tumultuous friendships in my life. And, you know, I've spoken about this briefly in the past in other videos about how most of my friendships at this point, or friendships that I've had in the past, they literally did not last. Like it literally felt like I couldn't keep a friend. And I honestly started to blame myself a lot for the ending of, you know, my friendships with people, because I value my friendships a lot. Like, I treat a lot of my friendships like they are family. And I am somebody that would fight to keep people in my life, even if they weren't treating me right, even if, you know, the friendship wasn't what I thought it was, because I valued friendship so much, and I really wanted, you know, friends and, you know, a friend group. And, you know, I really wanted those things. Whenever I felt like I was losing that, I would get extremely depressed. And I remember, like, back in high school especially, like, a lot of my depression stemmed from my friendships. Like, if my friendships weren't going well or people were treating me bad, I would always internalize it and blame myself a lot. It would get to a point where I almost found myself begging for people to treat me right and begging for these friendships to work. And, you know, no matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, the friendships will still end. And also, all of my friendships that have ended was because the other person ended it. I personally have never ended a friendship, relationship. Like, I'm not the one that initiates the whole, like, ending of things with people. Like, if someone is no longer in my life, it's because they decided not to be in my life. And because of that, I did start to take it personally. And I took it really, really hard, because, again, I really value the people that are in my life, especially if I consider you to be a close friend or a best friend. I'm thinking this is for a lifetime. And, you know, you often will hear people say, like, oh, when, you know, people get into relationships, they'll give their partner 100 chances, but then they won't do the same for their friends. I'm actually not like that at all. Not to say that I treat my friendships like relationships, but I mean, friendships are a type of relationship that you have to nurture, and that you have to fight for, and that you have to put forth, you know, effort and time and, you know, energy into. And so that's how I've always been, right? So even if I am, like, having a disagreement or a falling out with somebody, I'd always would try to fix it. And again, over the years, because I've lost so many friends and people have come and gone, I really started to question myself, like, okay, something wrong with me? Like, it's just, you know, my personality? Am I rubbing people the wrong way? Like, what is it, right? And in me looking back to all of the friendships that I've had that have ended, a lot of them have had the same reason for ending, or the same reason for people creating distance from me, was that it was some sort of, like, incompatibility thing, where people felt like I didn't quite fit in with a friend group, or people felt like I was weird, people felt like I was annoying, people felt like, or I wasn't, you know, I wasn't what people wanted me to be. And that is something that, again, I've dealt with from the beginning of time, where it's like people meet me, and I guess people have this idea of me before they even meet me. And then when they find out more about me and what I'm like, and, you know, what I like and what I don't like, I find that people are often disappointed and will often get upset as well, because I'm not what they want me to be. And because I am very sure in, you know, who I am, and, again, what I like, what I don't like, I feel like people tend to get frustrated or irritated if I don't change into who they want me to be. And what's so crazy is that I actually used to do that. Like, I used to be somebody that would change myself for other people. Like, if people wanted me to do things that I didn't want to do, or people wanted me to, you know, be into certain things, like, because I was so desperate for friendships and, you know, for a best friend, like, I would do that. Like, I would be like, okay, like, I'll just, you know, know, but at my core, I wasn't who they wanted me to be. And so I think that even with all the efforts of me trying to change myself and trying to be what other people wanted me to be, they still weren't satisfied with it. And so I often find myself constantly being pushed to the side for someone else. Like I would find myself in situations where I would get cool and close with somebody, but then they would meet somebody else that was more similar to them, and then I would get pushed out. That quite literally is what happened in high school. Like I had a group of friends that I was really, really close with, and then someone new got introduced, I got pushed to the side, and then I started getting treated horribly, and then I ended up losing all of those people. And you know, in me looking back to, again, all the people that I've considered close to me and seeing how quickly they were taken out of my life, I didn't know how to handle that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not good at handling the ending of things. And that's something that I experienced heavily too, like, you know, with my last relationship ending. Like, I'm not good with that. Especially because, again, I go all in with my friendships. These are people that, you know, I talk to on a very consistent basis, damn near every single day. These are people that I've opened up to, that I've been vulnerable with. And so for the span of a year to 2 years to go by, and now that person is completely out of my life, it's like, well, what the heck, and why does this keep happening? And that was something that I really started to peep. I'm like, why is it that every single person that I get really, really close to ends up leaving like 1 to 2 years later? Like, I only get to experience that friendship and that closeness for 1 to 2 years, and then they're gone. And it's just been like that, like on repeat. And I was really having a hard time with that, because I'm like, I don't want to keep becoming close with people just for them to leave. And, you know, whenever I would talk to people about this, you know, you get thrown the phrase of like, oh, some people are here for a season and not everyone's meant to stay in your life. And it's like, okay, cool. But why is it that everybody seems to be coming and going? Like no one is sticking around. And not only is no one sticking around, these are very short-lived friendships that I'm having as well. I'm not even able to have like long lasting friendships that last years and years and years, because everybody just keeps coming and going. And so I was trying to figure out, like, you know, again, is it me? Am I the problem? Like, what's going on? And for one, I had to recognize that all of these people, regardless of how quickly they left or how things transpired, I had to realize that all of these people that are no longer in my life, they didn't treat me well when they were in my life. And that's something that I had to come to terms with. As much as it hurt that I kept making friends just for them to end up leaving, and I kept getting close to people, and then I'm now having to erase pictures and erase memories. As much as that was hard for me to deal with, I also had to be real with myself, and I had to tell myself that, like, listen, all of these people that were once in your life, although yes, you shared a bond with them, yes, you shared memories with them, they treated you horrible. And these were people who like would talk down to me. These were people who would talk to me crazy, yell at me. These were people who sometimes I had to beg for a happy birthday text from them. These were people who didn't prioritize me, never prioritized me. These were people who, again, heavily judged me for who I am as a person or what I'm into, even down to what music I listen to. Like, these were people that were overly judgmental, weren't supportive of me at all, and made me feel less than, made me feel like, you know, I wasn't worthy of their friendship, or I wasn't worthy of being treated well. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm like, okay, sure, you know, these friendships did end for a reason. And, you know, if these were people that, again, weren't treating me well and weren't good for me, then I guess it is better that they're not a part of my life and that they are removed sooner rather than later. But then I had to come to the realization of like, okay, so how am I continuing to pick people that are like this? Because now it's becoming a pattern that I keep befriending people that aren't good for me, and then they're quickly taken out of my life, and then I'm sitting here blaming myself for it, when really I should have never even been friends with these people in the first place. And so that's been a really hard pill to swallow, again, especially coming out of my last relationship, because I blamed myself so heavily for the ending of that. I blamed myself for, you know, why they chose to go be with somebody else over me. I blamed myself so much. I kept asking myself, like, what else could I have done to stop this from happening? But now I'm in a phase in my healing journey where I'm like, okay, how did I even allow myself to be in that situation? What made me pick this person? And how can I have better discernment moving forward to make sure that I don't end up in this situation again? And or I have the self-esteem and the confidence in myself to be like, hey, this person isn't good for me. I need to cut things off. Because again, to this day, friendship, relationship, whatever the case may be, anybody that is no longer in my life, it was their doing. I have never cut anybody off ever. And I can assure you that is going to change. You know, if I do end up in another relationship or friendship where I'm not being treated well, I feel like I've done enough self-work to recognize that and to no longer tolerate it. Because I'm also at a point where I'm tired and I'm sick and tired of having to deal with just the exhaustion from dealing with people who don't treat me well and having to almost teach people how to treat me and begging for people to accept me for who I am. That has gotten very exhausting, and I'm at a point, and now I'm at an age where that's not something that I'm willing to tolerate anymore. But I do think it took for me to have all those experiences for me to get to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to prioritize me and my happiness, and if you are not good for me, then I can no longer have you a part of my life. So now I'm at a point where I'm not scared to cut off anybody, because I've had it happen so many times where I've been forced to let people go that I wasn't ready to let go, that now my detachment game is strong, okay? Like, I'm not putting up with nothing now. But with that being said, right, I do feel like now I have people in my life that I can trust, that do accept me for me, and that do pour into me, and I would be devastated if those friendships ended. And again, because I look at friendships very similarly to how I view relationships, the ending is just always tough for me. Like, because I don't like letting people go. I don't. Again, that has now changed, and to be fair, I haven't been in a situation as of yet where I've had to practice that, where I've had to cut people off. However, I have been getting better at creating space and boundaries with certain people. Like, because I've gotten to a point too now where I no longer have the energy to have conversations with people about how they should treat me, because I genuinely feel like at our big age, people know better. People know what's right, what's not right. And I feel like if you're going to go out of your way to either, again, not treat me well or disrespect me in any way, or just overall not being a good friend or a good person to me, I don't have the energy to sit there and coddle people and to try and tell them, hey, this is how you should do this. This is how you should communicate. No, you shouldn't yell at somebody and raise your voice when you're upset. Like, I don't have the energy to keep doing that with people. So now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, once people start acting funny, I'm gonna distance myself, right? I'm gonna just distance myself. I'm gonna keep a mental note of how you've been acting with me, and I'm just gonna keep my distance. So it doesn't even have to be like a whole, like, you know, drama and fallout. Like, no, I'm just gonna keep notes of how you treat me, and if you don't treat me the way that I feel that I deserve to be treated, I'm just going to adjust accordingly. And that's kind of been the energy that I've been on, and honestly, I've been feeling way more at peace with that, instead of constantly having the conversation of like, hey, you know, you doing this is not okay, or you saying this is not okay. Like, I feel like people know what they're doing. And, you know, I've also been in a lot of situations as well where people have told me like, oh, I've never had a friend, or I've never been in a relationship that was healthy, or, you know, I've never had somebody that knew how to communicate well. Like, I'm used to communicating with people in a toxic way. And so they almost use me to unlearn and heal from those toxic ways that they've had, you know, up until meeting me. And again, at one point, I would take that on. I would extend grace. I would try to help them to work through that. But I don't have the energy to do that anymore. I don't. If you sit up here and you raise your voice at me for no reason, I'm not talking to you no more. Like, I'm done. If I notice that you are purposely excluding me from things, okay, cool. I'm now gonna start excluding you from things. If I peep that you don't tell me happy birthday, then you're not getting no happy birthday from me next year. Like, that's just, I'm moving accordingly accordingly with people. Like, I'm not going to keep having these conversations, especially when people know how I am, when people know better in general. Like, I just don't have the energy for it. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, friendship breakups, you know, they're really hard. They're really tough, especially, again, if you're somebody that is coming out of a friendship that has lasted years. Like, let's say that you are ending a friendship with somebody that was 5 years long or 10 years long. Like, I know people who, you know, they've had friends since they were in kindergarten, and then they get to 30 and the person ends up changing and things start to happen, you know, whether that's, you know, either again there's some type of mistreatment, people start acting funny, or sometimes distance, you know, growing apart, you know, that can happen as well. Sometimes when you're not physically close with somebody, like distance wise, you haven't seen them in a while, or life starts to get hectic and maybe you don't talk to your friend as much as you used to, and you find yourself slowly but surely like not talking at all. Like, sometimes friendship breakups can also kind of happen organically. It doesn't have to be this thing of like we are not friends anymore. Sometimes you just wake up and you realize like, oh shoot, I haven't talked to this person in like a year. Or you find that you're reaching out to somebody and they stop answering your calls, they stop answering your texts, you get ghosted. You know, I've had that happen to me as well. Like, it no matter how the friendship ends, it's always hurtful, especially if on your end you poured a lot into that friendship, you prioritized that person, and you had the goal that this person would be in your life forever, and you were willing to do whatever it took to make sure that that happened, but then you're not getting the same energy in return. It's definitely really, really hurtful no matter how it ends. Obviously, you know, the more respectful the ending is, I think the better it is, the easier it is to heal from that situation. But, you know, it's hard. Like, people, I feel like nowadays people lack so much empathy, and they feel like, you know, it's just easy to cut people off and move on to the next, and oh, okay, you know, I'm not gonna worry about it, I'm just cut this person off and I'm just gonna go find somebody else. But no, when you really, really care about a person in a friendship, it hurts you deep. And honestly, sometimes the ending of a friendship hurts worse than the ending of a relationship. Again, like, it's because it's one thing to end a relationship with somebody, like, you know, let's say y'all were together for like 3 years, you know, versus your childhood best friend who has literally grown up with you, has seen you through so many ups and downs, that has been with you through the trenches. Like, that's a different level of heartbreak. And I feel like sometimes people will diminish how tough that can be. And then imagine, you know, being best friends with your partner. Imagine being in a relationship with someone that you also consider to be your best friend. That's double the hurt, double the heartbreak. Again, I had that experience myself where, you know, the person that I was with was also my best friend. Like, even just outside of all the romance and the relationship stuff, like, this was somebody that I just genuinely fucked with. Like, I just genuinely enjoyed their company. I like talking to them. I like hearing them talk about things that they're passionate about. I liked hanging out with them. I just liked them as a person. I like their sense of humor. I really just like them for them. And to lose both the friendship and the relationship, and you having to cut that off completely, it sucks. It hurts, because it's like people don't talk about the aftermath of having to lose out on your best friend that's literally been a part of your daily routine, basically. People don't talk about how, you know, after the friendship ends and you go on Instagram and you see a meme that you would typically send to your friend, but now you can't because you're no longer friends with them. They don't talk about how, you know, when you are going through a tough time and the person that you would normally go to for everything, now you no longer have them in their corner. People don't talk about when you have a friend who was a part of your family, like they literally used to come over for, you know, family events, and now you and this person no longer talk, but your family is still asking about them and hoping that you guys will be cool again. Like, people don't talk about just how hard that process is of completely removing somebody that used to be an integral part of your life. It's not easy. And so to anyone out there that's dealing with a very hard friendship breakup, especially if it was a blindside, if it was something that you did not expect at all, just take it day by day. Give yourself grace. You do not have to get over it in a month or 2 months. Give yourself all the time that you need to heal and move forward, and, you know, just keep being you. and people will come, better people will come. I know that's very cliche and everybody says that, but I can actually attest to that I, even though it took me a little bit longer than most, I can say that as of now, I have amazing people in my life. And I have people in my life that really support me and pour into me and uplift me. And, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't. Like, honestly, it happened within the past 2 to 3 years, to be completely honest. Like, it literally wasn't until, honestly, yeah, it wasn't until after college that I finally started to gain some genuine friendships in my life. And this is, again, coming from somebody that wanted those genuine friendships in elementary school, middle school, high school, and especially in college. But I just kept running into people that just were not meant to be a part of my life. And as much as it hurt that people just, again, kept coming into my life and then leaving, as much as I felt insecure about it, because it felt like, dang, like no one seems to be sticking around. I feel like people don't accept me for me. For me, it's all worth it when I was finding people that did accept me for me, and now my friendships feel like a breath of fresh air. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm having to sit there and overexhaust myself trying to make friendships work. I honestly, I didn't even realize how much stress I was under trying to keep certain friendships going and trying to keep a relationship going until I was out of it for long enough to where I'm able to look back and say, yeah, that wasn't healthy. That wasn't healthy. These people were not healthy for me at all. And so breakups, they do happen for a reason. People are removed for a reason. And although you may not see the reason in that moment, because again, it took me a very long time to even come to terms with the fact that all of these friendships that I've had that have ended, that it was for a reason. It took me a really long time to get to that point. So, just take it day by day, give yourself some time, and also don't feel like you have to rush the process either. Like, I know there's some people that are like, okay, we'll just, delete everything and block their number and do this. You don't have to do all that. Do things at your own pace. If you feel like deleting all the pictures you have with this person is gonna help you heal quicker, do that. But if you don't feel mentally ready to remove those pictures, don't do it yet. Do it when you're ready. And as you continue to pour into yourself and put yourself first, the right people will come. And I think that's something that I also had to realize as well, is that when I was attracting certain people into my life, I was extremely insecure, and I was looking for people to, in the past, I would put my value into other people and how they treated me. And so it almost was this vicious cycle of me meeting people, them treating me bad, and me feeling like it was my fault, and me feeling like I deserved it. And I just kept attracting that energy over and over and over again until I'm like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm just gonna isolate myself. And seriously, that's literally what it was. I'm like, you know what, I'm done like trying to make friends. I'm done trying to convince people of my worth. I'm tired of it. I'm just gonna do me, be myself, pour into myself, and just work on building my self-worth and my value. And I honestly feel like the minute I decided to put myself first, that's when I finally started meeting amazing people, and that's when I finally started to cultivate the friendships that I've literally been wanting since I was a little girl. And so, that honestly is my biggest advice, is to just put yourself first and pour into the people that pour into you. Like, if you do have other friendships in your life that are fulfilling and do make you happy, put your energy over there, and it's friends like those that are gonna help you through this tough time of a friendship breakup. And just take care of yourself. All in all, just take care of yourself. There's no set timeline for when you will move past it or be over it, but it's definitely going to take some time, but you'll get there, and you'll get to a point where you can delete those pictures. You'll get to a point where when their birthday pops up on the calendar, you won't be as triggered. It took me a really long time to get to that place with certain people, because man, like when I tell you, I have had some traumatizing friendships and relationships. Like, it's a lot. But again, it's like it's not like, yes, there can be some level of accountability in terms of, well, again, it just depends, right? It depends on how the friendship ended. If the friendship kind of just ended naturally and there wasn't a whole lot of drama and there wasn't any animosity, like, that's one thing. But if you're having a friendship breakup with somebody that, again, like, they just switched up and started treating you bad, don't blame yourself for that. Like, yes, obviously, like, as you start to unpack that friendship, you might start to think like, okay, okay, how did this friendship even come about? How did I allow this friendship to happen? But there's also instances where you just come across some really terrible people, and you know, it's not you, like it's them, like it's them and their own issues. Because I also find as well that a lot of people, like when they're dealing with their own stuff, they will project it onto the closest people to them, and so sometimes it's just them. Some people just don't know how to be good friends, and they don't know how to be good people, and sometimes, you know, they'll use you for whatever they need you for, and then they just throw you away. Again, had that happen to me several times, and it was a really hard pill to swallow, but it's made me way more cautious about, you know, how I navigate friendships now, and making sure that I am taking the time to really build up a friendship, and not being so quick to trust people and to get too vulnerable too soon. Like now I'm very like, okay, let me fill this out for a minute. Let me like not rush into anything. And again, if the energy starts to change, if I find that people are starting to act different, start talking to me crazy, or people start, you know, just acting weird, then I adjust. So then that way I don't feel like, you know, oh my god, like I did so much for this person, I gave this person my all, and they just, you know, like those days are over with for me. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know if I properly tackled this topic. Y'all know I like to ramble. I like to ramble and just go all over the place with these topics. But yeah, again, friendship breakups are never easy, and depending on how the friendship ended, you know, it can be really, really tough, and again, sometimes traumatizing as well. Like it really be the people that you least expect to do you dirty that will do you dirty. And you know, in those instances, it's really tough, and sometimes you do want to blame yourself, but really at the end of the day, the people that are no longer in your life, it truly is for a reason. And you may not see the reason until way after, like maybe years after. Like I feel like I'm just now starting to see why certain friendships of mine ended years and years ago. Like sometimes it really does take time, but you know, just again, put yourself first, pour into you, and you will find better people that are meant to be in your life. And or you may already have those people in your life, and you just need to, you know, prioritize them, and you know, just know that you're going to get through it, and that everything is going to be okay. And you know, that's their loss. You know, they get to miss out on having you in their life, so it's really them that's losing and not you. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this particular topic. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys have any additional thoughts on the topic, if you guys have any stories about friendship breakups that you've had to go through, whether it was, you know, when you were a child or when you were older in your adult life, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, give it a big thumbs up. And once again, if you guys have any topics that you guys want me to cover on the channel, make sure you guys fill out the form that is in my pinned comment as well as my description. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.